All right, and we are sort of not live. We're here, addicts in the building. The Lords are in the building. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is upon us. Shout out to Warhorse and Play On and giving us the opportunity to, shout out to Lord Petey for getting a chance to play it for over 2.5 hours uninterrupted, addict, man. They let me do what I want. And again, it's respect to the transparency of the studio. But yeah, we're here. The moment has arrived to talk about the sequel to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, man. So let's get it.
Yeah, so we got a couple general questions. Now, obviously, to be transparent, Cog has played it. I have not. We will be having a full blown conversation when the actual embargo for the actual game releases. But we're gonna just talk about the general, game that Cog played for the amount of time he did play, 2.5 hours. So first of all, I just want your general feelings. How you feel about going into the game. Let's stay away from anything in depth, just like the way the game looks, the way the game feels, and then we'll go more in depth later.
Yeah, this is a big one, right? Obviously, covering the first game, the Lords were kind of the first to cover Kingdom Come Deliverance, and basically, getting a. I remember being impressed by like, yo, this is realistic Skyrim. You know what I'm saying? This is hardcore, deeply rooted. There's, no dragons, no whatever, that kind of energy, and no magic kind of thing. So, it told a great story, and of a boy, coming up the ranks and kind of becoming into his own in this world in Bohemia. So this now, just playing the sequel, you see the glow up. The glow up addict is really impressive. What you call it, Cry Engine looks good. The feel, what I will say, just from an overall top level perspective, they are staying true to who they are. They are not compromising the things that people love about this game. Deeply rooted in realism, hardcore gameplay, and yeah, with now a great narrative and amazing characters that now we grow with. So that was kind of the vibe I got into it. It's a beautiful looking game.
Yeah,
Absolutely stunning.
which I respect because it's easy these days to fall in line with what like the Twitterverse wants and what people come together and attack people. And what I respect for this company, and they're like, look, we have a vision that the game has. If it upsets you, we apologize. We don't want to upset you, but this is our vision, and we're going to go through our vision. And, let's jump to the story, because what I am told, and I only played a couple hours of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm going to jump more into, because I wouldn't try to play it, but I was like, look, with the second one coming out and this game, it's a direct sequel just about, isn't it? Like almost a direct
Oh yeah.
sequel.
Well, the beauty of the game is when you start Kingdom Comes Deliverance 2, it's literally right after the ending of Kingdom Deliverance 1. And that is really cool to see. The story picks right back up, immediate transition. Most games like, 10 years later or 5 years later. No, no, no. We are literally direct sequeling. And for those who end it, without spoiling, like, you're going to remember exactly what this cast of characters were doing at that point. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so you're frozen again, but I'm just putting gameplay over the whole thing. I don't care at this point.
Okay.
So when it comes down to the comparing to Skyrim, because I see a lot of people comparing this game to Skyrim. And, one thing that I would, want to hear from you in terms of the Skyrim comparison, because it's not the first person that I've seen do that, is obviously the biggest thing I would say is this game isn't Skyrim because it's, just got magic. This is the most grounded thing that you possibly can have.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. The thing that you'll notice from the beginning, like when it comes to, again, we're used to playing a guy that loves Skyrim. You're used to having magic, and you're used to, getting around or fighting dragons and mythical creatures and all of this stuff. This is not, man. This is Bohemia at that time period, and it's really impressive from a historic. If you're a person who loves history and what was going on in this time period, this is literally the game for you, because you have historical figures in the game mixed with their obviously fictional characters in this world. So that's the thing you're gonna like. And of course, us being the Iron Lords, this is the realm of lords, and they talking that royal talk. So if you're a fan of that time period, you're truly gonna love what you're experiencing here, and the authenticity to what characters are wearing, how they would look, how they would talk, how they would behave. That's what you're gonna see.
Yeah, and I think that's what people want. You know, we got plenty of Magic stuff. We got plenty of stuff coming through when it comes to Magic, but we don't got a lot of genuine, realistic type of experiences like this.
Yes. And to add on real quick, what I mean, like the realism is so deeply rooted. Like you get dirty, you can smell, you know what I'm saying? Like all of this affects how people interact with you in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like the personality and the way people respond to you can be negative, based on the way you upkeep and stuff. This is a game where you have to eat. This is a game where you have to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all these systems on top of it. So that's why people fall in love with it because you could get lost in this world with just the hyper realism, aspect to the gameplay.
Yeah. So one thing I do want to go more into is the the gameplay in general. You know,
Yeah.
fighting was kind of a little hard in the original one. I wouldn't say it was like impossible, but I will say that it frustrated me to no end sometimes. Uh, from what you played of both of these games, did you feel like that change was drastic?
Not drastic. I would say they have stuck to their vision. And I would say that, oh, it's one of those things that, again, I also, as a person that did struggle initially with Kingdom Come Deliverance, full transparency, but their combat, it's basically the repose system. You have your sword, you can aim in different directions. You have to try to parry, and see where the attacks are coming from with sword play one on one and in group combat. But what I like is I feel it's more refined. Now I feel I have tells as to when someone is trying to strike me and do things like that. So the counter is important, blocking is important, but here's the key, Addict. Stamina, stamina, stamina. Everything you do involves stamina. And if you don't have a lot of stamina, it will be poor blocking. If you're just swinging willy nilly. So you have to be patient. You have to know when to pick your spots and know how to attack, which direction to attack. But the key for you, for
So it's
guys
it's,
like you
it's
and
kind
me,
of like For Honored a little bit.
yes, in a little bit. Yeah, there's a little For Honor energy there. But the thing for you and me, for guys that don't want to do all that, and what I love, and this is going to come out in an interview with Toby, is that you can pick weapons like the mace, where it ain't all of this direction and all. You could get to and each weapon type, like basically could affect like people with heavy armor and stuff like that. So if I have the mace, that could really, you could really go upside somebody's head with this. And they don't have all these amount of directions that the sword play will have. But I will say, if you master that sword play, it really is beneficial in the game. And the game does a good job in the opening in the tutorial of really trying to get you to hone your craft with it because you start training with Sir Hans and stuff like that. And that I felt is a good way to get you incorporated into the game. The game really starts to let you know, hey, we know this is complex, but we want you to get a good understanding of it.
How was the different variety of combat? Like from mace to sword? Was there any like mid range to long range? Could you like throw javelins?
Yes.
Is there arrows or bows or something like that?
Now they definitely have a lot of weapons. Now I can just tell you what I experienced in the game. I did experience the bow and stuff like that. Putting that in, loading that bad boy up from long distance attacks. I had mostly swordplay, mace. I didn't get a chance to get too many other weapons, and I didn't get a chance to do my, what I call sword and board. You know what I'm saying? What we do in most typical, Bethesda style games or Obsidian style games or the Valve and stuff like that. But so again, for my playthrough, I didn't play with a huge variety of weapons outside of sword, mace, and then bow, crossbow kind of thing. But I thought the crossbow was really effective because there was a segment where it's kind of like they sieging the gate, right? So dudes, and you on top trying to, you get to pick people off, and that felt
So
very
you
satisfying.
like those old like Troy movies where they're like putting the ladders and stuff up it like
Yes.
so you're seeing the ladders extending up and you're
Yeah,
looking down
bro.
shooting them.
Bro, think
Well, what was
of
that? What was that game? There was another game that
Chivalry. Remember
Chivalry,
Chivalry?
Chivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Chivalry 2. So I would
we
say
got to play that again.
we gotta play that as well. It's not as Chivalry is over the top and hilarious. This is more realistic and precise, but I love the idea of what we call seize them gameplay, and they're trying to really get at you. And in this scene, I was doing it. I was using the bow and I was doing as much as I could to prevent people from climbing up them ladders and trying to take care, try to seize our establishment where we was kind of locked up at.
Yeah. Okay. So what I want to know too is these type of games always have conversations, always have skill checks, always have at the beginning when you were doing when you did you make your character in any way, shape, or form? Was there any
So
skills that you could put into stuff? And because most of these type of characters, you got like either skill trees or you got points or you got both where you put them into anything. Tell me a little bit in terms of that going into can you make the character you want to make or do you have to play the character the way they want you to play it?
man, this is the part where I'm gonna be honest. For people who love skill trees, experience points, kind of making the Henry that you want to make. Oh, did not only did they deliver, they over deliver. It's almost sensory overload. How many categories and how many things you can really pay attention to as far as your skill. When the game starts, it even tells you like, okay, you start a conversation. It's like, okay, based on who your Henry is, we're going to give you this starting block of experience. So you could pick like a Henry that is a soldier, you know what I'm saying, who solves things as, weapon is all about violence with the weapons. You could pick Henry as an advisor to solve things with knowledge and skill and stuff like that. You can do Henry as a scout and do your detection and moving stealthily kind of thing. But again, just because you pick that, those are just a starting thing. As you go on, right, you continue to put points and stuff where you want to put it. You know what I'm saying? So that part is dope. And then what I like is, yeah, there were very early in the game, immediate skill checks, immediate based on things you say, how they react, or you couldn't convince someone, and then it went down a dark road. And not to spoil, but like there was a part where, again, it's me, I'm Henry of Skalitz, blacksmith's son whose parents were murdered, this horrible story from part one. That was part one story. And now you with your man, Hans Combine. He's a nobleman. He's actually a little higher than you, right? So Hans, without spoiling, you get into a situation, right? Where dudes rolled up on you like, yo, what's up? So you really Hans is protected in a sense, right? So I'm like, I said some things, and bro wasn't convinced, and I was making the situation worse at it when they was about to really do us dirty, and then because I kept failing against the check, so to speak, and not diffusing the situation, Hans got mad at me, and said, "Look, bro, I got this. Excuse my squire in a way, for
So
talking."
essentially what you're saying is you have checks and maybe because it's at the beginning, maybe it's more in the game that there's people to be like, okay, excuse him. His checks ain't up there yet. Like it's kind of like I'm kind of wondering if they put that in place at the beginning because they don't want to penalize, like they don't want to punish you so much at the beginning, or it's one of those situations where you can have certain companions. Because I assume this game has companions to some degree,
Yeah.
where they will step in because of their background and divert the conversation to a degree.
Yeah, again, for my playthrough, I can only comment on one with Hans. Hans was my companion, in the playthrough, and your man was saving me from myself because I was out of pocket, and the dudes we were trying to convince that the gang they was with, they was about to smoke, and it was a serious situation. I thought the way the game handled it was first. Let me get this out the way. The conversation and voice acting is top notch, and not just because most games you talk, I talk, you talk, I talk, and in most games have it. This has that. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has that. But what I like is just the seamlessness of multiple characters. I would say this game, the talking, it's such natural dialogue. I feel like I'll get confirmation from Wars. It feels like everybody's in the booth together when they're doing these. It's fantastic vocal performances, but not in just that. Because we play games like Metaphor.
You guys talked about that in the interview on whether or not they're in
right.
the same room or not.
Yeah, okay, good. Thanks for coming. See, I knew we brought it up. But I just want to give them their kudos because however they did this, it feels like natural conversation amongst groups of people. And it really adds to the realism of the scene and the scenario. And I really appreciated that about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. over other games. I would have to say that. Like it just felt like I'm with a crew. You know what I'm saying? And we were doing our thing. Like, at least early on, I would say. I have to see how the game progresses. But I was with Han in my playthrough. I was with Hans a lot, and it felt so cool.
Kingdom Come Deliverance, it seems like to me is like a very hardcore, like Metro era type of like simulation, if you will, where it's like you're playing maybe this, it's based off true events, but you're the main character is not like real. So what it seems to me is like they wanted you to experience this era, but they didn't want you to experience it like because obviously if you go off of real people, and to my knowledge, I don't think Henry's a real person.
Right.
He has taken place kind of like the Assassin's Creed. Like they take the time era and they pluck you in it. And
Yes.
when you pick real people, you have a certain guidelines that you always have to follow. But when you just pick some blacksmith's son, you're able to kind of write the story how you want to write it. That makes sense to that time era, and I really
Mhm.
appreciate that. You know, one thing that I want to talk about briefly is the world building. Yeah, this game looks beautiful from when I was editing. It looks phenomenal, and that was from recorded gameplay. I can't imagine because obviously the moment you start to download and upload, download and upload, that quality is going to go more and more down. But I'm assuming you play the native build, and I'm assuming that game looked way better than what I saw. And the game where I saw looked great.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, that Cry engine is moving out here. I know we're in the world of Unreal Engine 5, and I get that. No disrespect. That Cry engine was very impressive. The thing that I like about it is it's a combination of how highly detailed the environments are, like the grass and the water and the backgrounds and the big, let's not say skyboxes, but like the detail in the background of the skyboxes. So you got that. And it's vast, it's open, right? So you got that, but then you got the water. But the thing that separates it is the facial expressions, the graphical fidelity of the faces. But you know how most games when the guys are talking, you could tell it's not really one to one with the lips moving and how what they're saying. Oh, the tech that they're using, I'm like, yo, this feel like for the most part they're saying or enunciating the words based on and it could be just great motion capture that these guys are using. But I was very impressed. I will say this because there was a female, there's an older female character in the game that you experience after a situation happens, right? And she's there to help you. And you could see the pain in her face, and just this older lady, you could tell she's been through stuff. And then when she talks, Attic, you could see the emotion in her face when she feels sad for you. And that's when I felt like, okay, Warhorse has stepped it up on that level from graphical fidelity and expression and emotion. Like you feel it with these characters. And that's the nuance with whatever they're doing with motion capture and this Cry engine.
All right, so we're gonna end this with this. Do you believe when you think about a game going to a sequel, do you think the quality you got from playing this 2.5 hours is what you would have a bar at in terms of what you expect from a sequel?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, look, this was a team that punched above their weight to get a Kickstarter out the door and got the fans support. And look, we love it. It's a great game. It's a cult classic. But even then, I mean, it was still a decent looking game for its time. But I wouldn't say it was like, oh my God, this is punching with next to the heavyweights. Oh no, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This is one of those ones where you go, okay, the glow up is so big that it's like, okay, we can put you on the level of the top RPGs now, and now go dive even into who you are with this hardcore realistic style of a game. And I just love the fact that again they're unabashed with who they are. There's so many ways to solve situations. The way the game is rooted in realism. Every NPC, they have their job. They go, they wake up, they sleep. They go to the pub. They do all that stuff, right? So you got all these CPU systems. Then you got the horseback. You got the way you approach situations, stealth, combat. It opens up the possibilities on a truly deep immersive game that no two people we could tell are gonna play the same, because it's gonna be one of them games where we go, Bird, you did that. And you'd be like, no, well, I went around, I stuck around the bandit camp and I did this. You see what I'm saying? It's one of them types. So it's just like this is one of them games. The replayability is gonna be so high because of so much they've packed in. And yeah, now they've got the production value with the cinemas and in-game stuff too, that you like, okay, this is a motion picture now. Like the glow up is next level, and they talking like, yo, we think we got the game of the year. Like, I
I
mean,
like
they
to see that,
talking
though.
it.
I do. I like to see
Yeah.
that. I like confidence. But essentially, when it comes down to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you guys be looking forward to it. This game is on a lot of people's radars. I think they've done a phenomenal job at promoting it. I think they shout out to Toby. Toby over there, he put the whole promotion on his back. This man be out there promoting the way like 8 people would promote all by his lonesome. So appreciate him for the opportunity. Lords will be covering this game more in depth when the game actually comes out. Is there anything else that you want them to know, Lord Cognito?
Yeah, I just want to shout them out in terms of transparency. It's a breath of fresh air at it. Me and you go to preview events. We do a lot of these kind of things, and we cover games early. And the thing that I like is like, okay, boom, here's our performance targets. Here's what we're running. Remember, I played it on PC, a very high performing PC. But, oh, by the way, here are the Xbox stats. Here's the PS5 stats. Hey, we got 60 frames per second. Hey, like, just, how like you go to a demo, it's like, it's controlled, right? It's like, okay, don't do it, make sure. And that's fine. Even if I'm not saying that's wrong. It's rare that you go to a studio and they like knock yourself out, leave you alone, go do it up. Like,
That's confidence too, because if they weren't confident, they would hold your hand going through the experience to make sure that you're not being stuck anywhere, because they don't want you to get stuck, because then that means you're going to have a bad experience.
Right. And in their defense, anytime anybody had an experience or like, hey, how do I do this or whatever, hey, they come right over or whatever. But yeah, man, it was really cool, and I'm really excited to see where the story goes. I think the story beat, for people who want a good story beat, you could tell it feels like they pumped a lot into the narrative and where Henry's journey is going to go, and it is really cool. And the game, I want to shout, the game has great humor, subtle humor in its own way. They make sure to have fun with these quests that I like, and everything and potion crafting, whatever you want to do, you can dive and immerse yourself and play it the way you want to play it.
Yeah, so the game comes out February the 4th, I believe, on all platforms. Really recommend you guys check this out, man. And that's the Lords, man. We played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 early. Peace.
Peace.